What is your name, please?
My name is Mrs. A. Kelly Shelton.
What is your name, please?
My name is Mrs. A. Kelly Shelton.
What is your name, please?
My name is Mrs. A. Kelly Shelton.
Two of these people are imposters. Only one of them is the real Mrs. A. Kelly Shelton and is the only one sworn to tell the truth. And here is our host, Bud Collier.
Thank you very much, and a very warm good evening. It's a pleasure to welcome you once again to our game of deliberate misrepresentation. This is where our panel endeavors to figure out which one of three challengers has sworn to tell the truth. Tell the Truth is brought to you each week by Geritol, America's #1 tonic, the high-potency tonic that helps you feel stronger fast. And now let's meet our cross-examiners. What is your name, please?
My name is Polly Bergen.
My name is Keenan Wynn.
My name is Celeste Holmes.
And my name is Hy Gardner.
It's a real pleasure to be able to welcome Celeste Holmes and Keenan Wynn to our panel tonight.
Thank you, Bud.
Thank you, Bud. Nice to be with you both. Now, panel, these three ladies all claim to be Mrs. A. Kelly Shelton. Now, of course, only one is the real Mrs. Shelton. The other two have merely assumed that identity. They are the ones who do not have to stick to the truth. Now, panel, may I direct your attention to your copies of the first affidavit for this evening and ask you to follow along while I read it. I, Mrs. A. Kelly Shelton, am Vietnamese by birth and a Texan by marriage. I met my husband when he was an administrative officer in the American Embassy in Saigon. I am familiar with the jungles of my native land, since by profession I am a hunting guide specializing in tiger hunts. In June of this year, I am leading an expedition to Vietnam in an attempt to capture a wild coupre. Signed, Mrs. A. Kelly Shelton. All right, panel, as you heard, these three ladies all claim to be Mrs. A. Kelly Shelton, hunting guide. Only the real Mrs. Shelton is required to answer your questions truthfully. Each of you will question until you hear this signal, and at the end of the questioning period, you will be asked to register your vote for the one who, in your opinion, is the real Mrs. A. Kelly Shelton. And we'll start with Hy Gardner. Hy?
#1, what is a wild coupre?
It's a big ox.
#2, what is a wild coupre?
The biggest boar in
The biggest boar?
Nothing personal, you
It's a
understand.
wild boar. It's a wild, but it's the biggest in the whole world.
Uh-huh.
And they're trying to catch it alive.
I thought the biggest boar was right here in New York. #3, what would you say that a wild
Looks
coupre?
like a water buffalo, but it's more than a water buffalo.
#1, you say your name is Kelly. How do you spell Kelly?
Kelley.
How do you spell it, #2?
Kelly.
#3?
Kelly.
#3, I'd like to ask this question. There was a very famous nurse. She became famous at Vietnam by sticking to her post while all the fighting was going on. Do you remember her name?
I forgot the name. Is it Florence? That time was...
No,
Polly?
I think that was Florence Nightingale. #1, I always want to know, is a tiger an orange animal with black stripes or a black animal with orange stripes?
It's a yellow animal with black stripes.
A yellow animal with black stripes.
Yes.
What do you think, #2?
I would say it's a yellow animal with black stripes. Has white, too, though.
It has white,
Unless-
too?
And a tiger has white.
Oh, I see.
And
#3, what is a Quadamandi?
I think it's orange with a yellow color and it's black stripe.
No, you misunderstand me. What is a Quadamandi?
Another animal. The name of
Another animal, a Quadamandi. #1, do you know?
Never heard of it.
#2?
Never heard of it.
Keenan Wynn.
What is the name of the
Didn't
outpost?
make it up.
Pronounce it right.
Number 3, what is the name of the outpost where the French made their heroic stand?
Dien Bien Phu.
How do you spell that?
Dien Bien Phu. D-E-N. Bien Phu.
Maybe you can spell it better in Vietnamese.
Maybe. Number 1, what is the name of the outpost where the French had their heroic stand?
You mean what the place name
Yes.
is? Dien Bien Phu.
Would you care to spell it?
Well, I can't spell so good. You give me a pepper, I put it down.
Vietnam, Celeste?
Number 1, would you say, how do you do in Vietnamese?
Chào cô.
Number 2?
Chào cô.
Number 3?
Tại Phương Trón.
Well, why did you take up hunting, number 2, why did you take up hunting guiding as a profession?
Well, it's not really taken as a profession. I was brought up with it. My uncle was a sergeant of the king, Bodai, emperor. And I always stayed there when I was a child, and I always went along, not on too dangerous trips, when they went not too far in the jungle. So I was kind of brought up with it, and I began to love it. Adventure, I suppose.
Well, our adventure now is to stop our consultation and do just a little bit of voting. So if you will, please mark your ballots and select thereby number 1, number 2, or number 3. Remember, please, the team of challengers gets $250 for every incorrect vote. Molly, all set?
Of course not.
For whom did you vote, Molly?
Oh, I voted for number 3, and I have no reason because I couldn't understand them too well, which is about the way it goes with me most of the time, so.
Okay, Keenan, who's your selection?
I voted number 3. I voted number 3 mainly because she certainly seems to have a more of an Oriental feeling and has not been exposed to this country too long.
All right, Celeste?
I voted number 2 because she gave such a nice long answer.
And Hyde Gardner, who's your choice?
I voted for number 3 because she sort of spelled Kelly correctly, but pronounced it Kerry at the start, and I think that, I don't know what this coupé is, but I think she'd look very good in a convertible coupé.
Well,
Now, who is the biggest bore?
you have heard our votes now, and we won't mention our reasons, but let's see how well we did as we discover which one of these charming ladies is the real hunting guide. So, will the real Mrs. A. Kelly Shelton please stand up? Thank you, Mrs. Sheldon. Number 2, would you tell us who you really are and what you do, please?
My name is Ellen Babalos. I'm a dancer, but I've never been in Vietnam nor in Texas in my whole life.
And number 3, what about you?
Yes, my name is Christine Lee. I'm hostess in Ruby Foods restaurant in New York.
Well, ladies, as you can tell by seeing who stood up and who got the votes, there were absolutely 1, 2, 3, 4 incorrect votes. $250 each for a total of $1,000 from Geritol for you to divide. Good night and good luck to you.
What is your name, please?
My name is Fred G. Wacker, Jr.
What is your name, please?
My name is Fred G. Wacker, Jr.
What is your name, please?
My name is Fred G. Wacker, Jr.
All right, panel, you've had a look. Now give a listen, and please follow along, if you will, with your copies of this affidavit. I, Fred G. Wacker, Jr., am president of Amco Tools, Incorporated. I am former president of the Sports Car Club of America and was a racing car driver both here and abroad, where I drove for the famous Gordini French racing team. I have also appeared in nightclubs and on network television as leader and drummer of my own jazz combination. Our first album has just been released. Its title, Freddie Wacker and his Windy City Seven. Signed, Fred G. Wacker, Jr. All right, panel, this time these three gentlemen all claim to be Fred G. Wacker, Jr., industrialist, musician. So let's start the cross-examination this time with Keenan Wynn. Keenan?
Number 2, what country imports the Jap engine?
I don't know.
Number 3, what country imports the Jap engine?
I don't know.
Number 1.
I don't know.
What is the famous Bugatti? What was his first name?
The Bugatti hasn't been used as a racing car in, I can't think how many years. So I don't know the name of the manufacturer.
You don't know the man's first name, Mr. Bugatti's first name?
Afraid not, Mr. Wynn.
Number 2, what is a forgive this expression, what is a Halibrand rear end?
I don't know.
Number 3.
I don't know.
I don't know either. Number 1, what is the term crash box?
I don't know.
Are you sure one of them's real?
I don't know.
I don't think so either.
Tell me, number 1, how would you kick off the beat on a rock and roll number?
Well, my band doesn't play much rock and roll, if we can help it. We do play Dixieland.
I see. Number 2?
I'm strictly from Dixie, too.
Let's see. Number 3, what is the name of a restaurant in Chicago where they have catacombs in the cellar?
I believe that's the Ivanhoe.
Tell me, number 2, is there any connection between the drive, Wacker Drive, and you in Chicago?
It was named after my grandfather.
Oh. Number 1, what is the last thing you think of just before you start a road race?
I didn't catch the question, Miss Holmes.
What is the last thing you think of before you start a road race?
I pray and think of my girl.
Hi, Gardner.
Number 1, did you ever hear of a fellow by the name of Keenan Wynn?
Yes.
Number 2, what does Keenan Wynn got to do with hot rod racing or sports car racing? Anything?
Well, I believe Mr. Wynn is interested more in motorcycles and is also a fan of hot rods.
Uh-huh. Number 3, what is a Slingerland?
It's a make of drum.
Uh-huh. Number 3, what does a fellow named Ken Purdy got to do with sports cars?
He's a writer for magazines, and I think...
Uh-huh. Number 1...
Molly?
Number 2, could you name one of the 2 top jazz trombonists in the United States?
Red Nichols.
And number 3, could you name one of 2 of the top trombone jazz players?
Jack Teagarden.
Number 1, could you name one of the top jazz trombone players?
Red Nichols plays a good trombone as well as a good
Number
cornet.
2, let's see. Who would you consider the top jazz sax player? Won most of the polls in Downbeat, a few of the other jazz magazines.
I would say Jimmy Dorsey.
Number 3, could you name?
Maybe Johnny Hodges.
That's it, panel. Time once again to vote. So again, without consultation, will you please mark your ballots? And in so doing, select number 1, number 2, or number 3. All set, Polly, huh?
Yes.
For whom did you vote this
well,
time?
the jazz questions, they confused me on because they named Dixieland players more than jazz players. J.J. Johnson and Kay Winning are going to be very mad you didn't mention them as one of the finest trombone players.
Oh, you name dropper, you.
Well, they're the two top trombone jazz players in the world. Number 3, I voted for, mainly because, I don't know, I thought he wore the double-breasted suit to throw us. And also, I would think a president of something or other would wear a double-breasted suit.
I see. All right, Keenan, what about your choice?
Well, I voted for number 1
I think it's him.
because, well, the reason I got a lot of I don't knows, but he was the only one that went into a discussion about Bugatti, the only one that followed through what I was saying. So I voted for number 1.
All right, Celeste?
Well, I voted for number 2 because nobody else did.
Hi, Gardner, your vote, please.
Well, I voted for number 3, too. He knew Ken Purdy, and that Slingerland was a make of drum. And furthermore, I'm with you, Polly. When I saw the double-breasted suit, I realized that the only people wearing double-breasted now are comedians and drummers.
All right, once again, we hope you're guessing along with us. He's already resented that. Okay, let's find out now which one of these gentlemen is the real industrialist musician. So will the real Fred G. Wacker, Jr. please stand up? Well, there you have it. Number 1, would you tell us who you really are and what you do, please?
My name is Thorne Sherwood, and I'm a senior partner in an architectural firm in Stamford, Connecticut by the name of Sherwood, Mills, and Smith.
There you work, sir. And number 2, who are you really and what do you do?
And my name is John Stewart. I'm Secretary and Treasurer of Peter Snyder Sons & Company, Wholesale Fabric House, New York City.
Score, we find that there were 2 incorrect votes at $250 each for a total of $500. And Geritol, hope you had fun, gentlemen. We did. Good night and good luck. Well, we'll meet a new set of challengers in just a moment. Team of challengers, please.
What is your name, please?
My name is Gerald Brockhurst.
What is your name, please?
My name is Gerald Brockhurst.
What is your name, please?
My name is Gerald Brockhurst.
And now, panel, will you follow along with your copies of this affidavit? I, Gerald Brockhurst, was commissioned to paint my first portrait when I was 10 years old, and I have been painting ever since. I studied under the great John Singer Sargent. I am a member of the Royal Academy of Art and a member of the Royal Household. Among my subjects have been Queen Mother Elizabeth, Bernard Baruch, the Duchess of Windsor, Bishop Fulton J. Sheen, Claire Booth Luce, and Marlena Dietrich. I have been referred to as the highest-priced portrait painter in the world. Signed, Gerald Brockhurst. Again, panel, these 3 gentlemen claim to be Gerald Brockhurst, portrait painter, and we'll begin this round with Polly Bergen. Polly?
Number 1, it says in your affidavit that you're you refer to as one of the highest priced portrait painters in the world. How much would you charge to paint a portrait of me?
How much of you?
I think about how much of me? Well, I'll go all the way. How much?
All of you would be $10,000.
Half off for profiles?
No, definitely no.
Number 2, when you painted this portrait, it said when you were 10 years old, this first portrait, did you get paid for it?
Yes.
How much were you paid?
35 guineas.
Keenan Wynn.
Number 2, who are you painting now?
We've just finished the Rheingold girl. Now painting Mr. Johnson.
Mr. Johnson?
Yeah.
Is that wax or outboard motors?
Neither.
Not in this country. In this
No,
country?
it's the Band-Aid man.
Somebody ought to ask him which
Number 3, what famous inventor was a portrait painter?
Who, Bob?
Famous inventor.
What famous inventor was a portrait painter?
And Leonardo da Vinci.
Celeste?
Number 2, what was the name of the Dutch painter who was able to copy successfully the work and even the pigmentation of Vermeer?
Probably Velasquez. I wouldn't know for certain.
Number 3, would you know the answer to that?
I don't know.
Number 1, would you?
I don't know.
Number 1, could you tell me, I think it was Mr. Sargent's humorous definition of a good portrait.
Yes, I think his description, or at least his idea of a good portrait, had to do with the mouth.
Yes.
Have to leave it there. I'm sorry. Hi.
Number 2, I had a very dear friend. He's now passed on, and I wonder if you knew him, Everett Shinn.
Bishop Fulton Shinn, you mean?
Beg pardon?
He's still alive.
Number 1,
Another limb of the family.
would you know who Everett Shinn was?
Are you asking me?
Yes, sorry, yeah.
I didn't hear the question, I'm sorry.
Did you know an Everett Shinn?
Shinn?
Shinn, yes.
S-H-I-N-N?
No, not
Did you, number 3?
S-H-I-N-N. I thought you were referring to Bishop.
I'm sorry.
Right, our time is gone. It's time to vote, so will you please mark your ballots for number 1, number 2, or number 3? I'll say it again, Polly. Okay, for whom did you vote this time?
Well, I voted for number 3. Number 1, because I voted for number 3 every time, and I thought I shouldn't change now. And I was right last time, and mainly because I thought number 3 from the very beginning looked more like a member of the royal household, and I don't know.
Good, solid reason. Keenan?
I voted for number 1 because it was very definite about the price involved, whether it be profile or how much was involved.
Yeah.
It sounded very right to me. I voted for number 1.
And Celeste, who was your choice this time?
I voted for number 1, too. 1, I mean.
Also, likewise.
Also, likewise. For pretty much the same reasons.
And Hi Gardner?
Well, since the only question I asked was about Shinn, I guess I was let out on a limb. But actually, Everett Shinn was probably one of the great American painters of circus scenes and so forth. In any event, I did vote for number 2.
All right. I hope you're playing this along with us at home. You should be having a lot of fun if you are, because we don't know until now when we find out which one of these gentlemen is the real portrait painter. So, will the real Gerald Brockhurst please stand up? You really broke out of your cocoon
How
tonight.
much would you charge?
Nothing if I paid to you.
Oh! Number 1, would you tell us who you really are and what you do, please, sir?
My name is Charles Wetherill. I'm president of Bond Wetherill Incorporated, Custom Tailors of New York.
Thank you, sir. And number 2, who are you really and what do you do?
I'm Major Richard C. Seddon, sales representative of Jaguar Cars, New York.
Well, Clyde, we've had a lot of high scoring here for our challengers. There were 1, 2, 3 incorrect votes at $250 each for a total of $750 from Geritol. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Good night and good luck. To thank Celeste and Keenan for sitting in with us. Hope you had fun.
Oh, we
Thank you
did.
for having us along, huh?
Nice to be on Fun to be Fooled.
Good night to you all, panel.
Good night. Good night, Bud.
Now, this is Bud Collier saying good night for Geritol and reminding you to tell the truth. Good night, everybody.
To Tell the Truth is Mark Goodson, Bill Todman production in association with CBS Television Network. This program sound by Florence Buster.